Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today is Takeoff Tuesday. It's July 21st. We get to hear from an amazing individual today. His name is Bill Predebon. I've gotten to know Bill over the last few years. I'd say it's about 4 years, more than 4 years now. We've both been working together in Scottsdale, and I'm just so grateful to have worked so closely with Bill because he is a fantastic example for all of us and such a great example of being a product of the product and what that means. Bill has been involved with Renatus for about 10 years. He did take a few years break in the middle there, but he has been really driving this business and doing a lot on the marketing side and a lot on the real estate side. Bill has completed around 150 real estate transactions, and he's also built a large team of real estate entrepreneurs. But before Renatus, Bill was a pro skier, and he had been doing that for 10 years in Vail, Colorado, and realized he really wasn't qualified to do much else. He got into the franchise world. He owned a couple of stores, and due to lack of knowledge, that actually ended up going south for him. He ended up losing those stores. In 2007, he heard about real estate investing, and he attempted it on his own without education. And the crash in 2008 resulted in Bill being in debt of around $400,000. And after that is when he found Renatus. In his first year alone with Renatus, he was able to earn more than he did, 8 times more than he did the previous year as both a loan officer and as a realtor. And ever since then, as I mentioned, he's completed around 150 transactions. He is recognized by our CEO as a key leader and is on our PIT team, which is the President's Advisory Council in Training. And we are very, very fortunate to get to learn from Bill. He's got a lot of experience, so I'm excited to hear what he's got to share with us today. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Keely, what's up? What's up, everybody? Keely, you look so pretty this morning.
Oh, thanks.
I did not shower. I had to put a hat on. I haven't shaved in a few days, so I don't look as pretty as you. But, and all you other beautiful people on this call, you guys are awesome. As I flip through, of course, we don't have many videos, but we have a few pictures, so that's good. Thanks so much. Don't apologize for the stutters and stuff. That's not your fault, man. You do so much for us and putting this together and recording it and all the recordings you got to put on the Facebook and the YouTube and all that, girl. You just do a lot of endless work behind the scenes. And I know a lot of people on this call also do that for the communities across the country. Just making the team work, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. So super cool to have you introduce me. I love it every time I listen. I'm like, I got to get back from my coffee and my water and getting ready for the call so I can hear Keely introduce me, right? I don't want to miss it. So it's just a pleasure, and it's awesome. Hey, did you put that house under contract with Sean?
No, we went and saw it yesterday, and I'm not.
Needs some work.
Yeah, it needs some work.
Yeah, it's a tough market. It's a tough market. But anyway, keep it up. It's coming. I know you're gonna. We'll have to chat and brainstorm a little bit so I can keep an eye out.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because my boy Kevin is in with a couple wholesalers, pretty good. The last several deals, he's doing 6 flips right now, and the last several he's got from a wholesaler. So I can keep an eye, and he gets them in that price range that's under $350. So. Bobby Johnson, what's up, brother? Hilda, Alvin, Megan, everybody. Raphael is on the call. Right on. Pete Small, what's up, brother? Everybody, welcome. I actually spent some time and put some training, so it's not just off the seat of my pants here. You guys, this is pretty exciting. So I'm going to type in. Okay, so somebody texted me, and I got back to them. And I don't know who they are. They're not on my phone, and then I didn't hear back. So if you texted me, I'm pretty sure check your phone. I got back to you. If you did text me and I didn't get back to you, then shame on me and text me again, and I'll hit you up. But 760-533-3141 is my cell. If you're not on chat and you're just listening, but you're taking notes, it's 760-533-3141. That's my cell number. If you ever need you know, if you ever got a client you're working with, I don't know, client, prospect, student, whatever you guys call them, you know, and you want a little chit chat before you go hit them up or whatever, and you know, whatever it is, or you got a question about real estate, that's fine. You got my number. The other thing that we always do, and Dane, you know, everybody does it, but for me, if, you know, I go wherever I want to go, right? Wherever the wind takes me when I do these trainings. But if you have something that you're not getting value from, and you have something specific to you, most likely it's good for everybody. It's probably definitely good for me. And you can interrupt me by coming off mute or typing in the chat, and I can get to whatever it is that you're talking about, no matter if it has anything to do with what I'm talking about. So, you know, if you got a question or a comment or a thought that, you know, you've been meaning to talk about your marketing business, then we can discuss it. That's why we're here today, and every day, really. So with that, we're going to go into Econ 101. All right. I'll tell you, folks, and I know you guys know half this stuff or all this stuff, but, you know, maybe hearing it from different people than just your 5-star or your leadership there, it sinks in a different way, whatever the case is. But we're going to go over it because I think it's super valuable. I mean, I think about it all of the time. I'm telling you, this, I don't know if you want to call it advice or training or thought process or strategy. Had I been given this information when I got started with Renatus and started doing real estate, I probably would promise you, well, I can't promise you, I would be in a different position, not even in a different position, just financially, my life would probably be 10 times better than it already is. So you have the opportunity, in my opinion, possibly. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if you do. Hit me up because I'm down to take a look at it. But you have an opportunity coming up, I think, that, you know, and I don't know when it's going to be, but in the meantime, you have opportunities that are positioned very well. So I'm going to go through those. So I'm going to tell a quick story. This morning, I'm walking my dog, and I see my buddy Eric. Right, Eric's my neighbor who I should really punch him because he was supposed to sign up and be on my team by now. Ready, I should say, yeah, ready and able, like all over the place, able, definitely ready, not willing. Wife not willing, right? And he never ended up enrolling. I haven't hit him up since before COVID. I can't remember the last time I talked to him. Probably I'll have to look at my text. Anyway, I'm talking to my buddy Eric, and he's got a little boat. He bought it with his partner. They've had it 3 years. And it's a Malibu. It's probably 22 feet. It's a ski wakeboard boat. He did some modifications so he can actually surf it. Right. And he's got 2 boys, and they go out, and then he takes his friends out, and they go out quite a bit to the lakes. He even goes out in the damn winter in Arizona, like wetsuit and whole 9 yards. And so we were talking, he's like, I think I'm going to sell my boat. So that was the other day. And I'm like, hey man, what's up with the boat? I'm like, are you going out or did you sell it? Cause he was fixing it, or he was working on it this morning, 6 a.m. And so check this out. He's like, dude, I put it up. He bought it. Okay. He bought a boat, like a ski boat, goes down in value. Bought a boat 3 years ago, stores it, insures it, fixes it. Then he added up all the cost of the boat over the last 3 years. And he added $4,000 to it. And he's got 2 guys coming to see it today. Like that. Buy low, sell high. Econ 101. Supply, demand. Go look on a Craigslist. Go look on RV Trader. You know, I'm buying an RV. It's the craziest freaking time. I can't believe I didn't buy an RV 6 months ago. But we started looking 6 months ago. Had no idea what we wanted, when we wanted to buy it. We're also considering I'm getting my car, and then we also are looking at another Airbnb. I told you this. So we had, my wife and I strategize every week or so and trying to figure out which assets we're going to sell and stuff like that, and how and what we're going to do with our money. And we decided to splurge on this RV. It's really a depreciating asset, but we're going to rent it 1 or 2 times a month maybe, and 1 week it'll cover the whole payment, right? Anyway, so go look, there's no boats, supply and demand. And he's like, check it out. He's like, we'll just buy it when the market goes down. That's exactly what he said. I'm like, God, dude, why don't you do this 10 times over and do it real estate instead of instead of boats and make, $40,000 instead of $4,000. But I'll get to that with him. So Econ 101, supply and demand. So I want you to imagine, like I don't know where you were, and here you got to remember, I don't know what you're doing all the time. I don't know what you're working on. This is a marketing call to enroll students and make money, change your life, change their life, right? That's the premise. You just listen to Bob Snyder's mission statement, Bob Snyder's goals, and stuff like that. So this call is geared towards kind of a strategy that we're looking at. I'm going to touch on some points, and then we can get into hopefully this second half. I tend to fail on it a little bit, but specifics, like really looking at why we aren't going as fast as we want, making as many sales as we want, or whatever it is, and then how to make those sales, how to track them, and which we've gone over before, not even on my call, but other calls, Michael and stuff, and you guys have seen this training, but I'm not going to go into this detail as like a 1-hour training on tracking your leads, but we're going to talk about it. So that's the goal here. So we have an asset we bought in 2006. It was Sherry's first house when we were just starting to date. I was just moving out here from California. I got my loan officer job, and she bought this house just because she was buying a house. She wasn't in real estate or anything like that. She had the money and the credit, and it was new build time. I found 4 brothers and inherited 3 houses. Where's the best training for probate? I believe that Creative Acquisitions talks about probate, but honestly, somebody else can answer that. I've never studied probate. I bought like 2 houses out of probate, but I bought it from a guy who knew probate. So he did the work for me and got me the lead out of probate, and then I bought it. I didn't do the probate research. I believe, Deal of the Decade as well. Yeah. Chris Albin, I think, talks about probate in a couple different classes. But I don't think we have a probate class. Yeah. I would Google probate specialist if I was you, probate real estate specialist or something like that, or probate wholesaler in your area, and see if you can find a probate guy and hit him up or something. Take him to lunch. Good question. I just don't know. I don't ever track probate leads at all. Okay. So imagine if you were in the market when I was in 2000, let's call it 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So Sherry bought this house in 06. So we're selling this asset. Now, when we bought it, she bought it height of the market, top of the market. Wasn't really concerned she was going to be living in it forever, right? So by 2008, the house was worth at least $100,000 less than she bought it for. So the negotiations class, that was the one that, if you guys remember, I decided, we should, so dumb, we should negatively cash flow this property, right? I did refinance it, but I refinanced it into a 10-year ARM with an adjustable rate mortgage, like just ignorance, right? This was going to be a 30-year house for sure. And I put it in this adjustable rate mortgage, which paid off during the market going back down, and all the interest rates and it's tied to the LIBOR. Anyway, if you're not interested in mortgages, you don't know, but it worked out because sometimes the mortgage went all the way down to like $700 a month, and we were getting $1,400. But that was only for a couple of years. So most of the time, it's been negatively cash flowing, especially in the very beginning when we needed the money the most. And we were in trouble. We were upside down on that house. So because of negotiations, understanding mortgages, understanding bankruptcy class, those 3 classes, I was able to negotiate that debt, the second mortgage that she used to buy the house. She used an 80-20 loan when she bought it, 0% 100% financing, 0 down. She bought that house from a builder, brand new, and I negotiated a $48,000 second mortgage for $2,000. Okay, so we paid that off, $2,000 when I started making money, and it took me about a year to negotiate that deal, and with Chase Bank, and so we then started. We were able to that mortgage was like $450. So we still own that house today, and now we've been paying extra on the house. We've had renters in there. It's up north, and it's the height of the market. And in its condition, we've never updated it. So it had carpet that's been in there rented for 12 years, right? We've had, it's got 12-inch tile. We did upgrade the kitchen when we bought it. So the kitchen's actually pretty nice, but it's dated colors, right? We can sell that house probably for $260. Right, it's finally over what the height of the market was in 270. She bought it for $248, I think. So we owe far less than that. We have almost $100,000 of equity in that house, but it's not a great rental. The interesting thing is we have the opportunity to take that into our idea of buying a houseboat for a short-term rental, paying off the RV if we just want to buy the whole RV, or buying another rental, right? We've got multiple different options we have. So my point to that story is, imagine if you bought, now we bought that in 06, so it wasn't the greatest time, but if you have heard of anybody, which I'm sure you have, or you have bought a house in the crash, and granted, we went through a very big crash, so I'm not expecting that again in the near future, but there will be a downturn, right? I don't know when it is. But the good news is we don't care when it is, right? The good news is we want to prepare for this. So I'm only going to spend a few more minutes on this, and then we're going to dive into some facts, or some like okay, let's make sense of this. Let's actually put it to work. How do we do it? So we have an opportunity to buy property in a down market. Now, I'm not saying don't go buy property in today's market. And most of your markets that you're in are moving markets, right? They're up and down markets. But we tend to focus on real estate. We tend to focus on getting these deals done. In markets like this, typically there's a lot more time involved to find good deals. And there's a lot more research to be done on and underwriting, right? You've got to predict the market a little bit. You want to stretch the numbers and the dollars a little bit because the margins are tighter, harder to find deals. So you're trying to make wholesale deals work, whatever it is that you're doing. And so what I believe is that this time should be spent studying. So I'm going to look at the pit and the pack and a few other people. If you take Scott Rowe and Bob Tierney, if you take Hugh Zaretsky, you can take myself. I'm on the pit, and I've been doing real estate, right? James and Lisa Lease, Gary Lawrence, right? Charles Hosea. You don't even know if you know Charles Hosea, but he's still an active member. He's above Gary. He overrides me and several other people, including Gary, and I believe he makes at least $120,000 a year in Renatus without even doing any marketing. Jeff Thompson, another guy in Northern California. I think he overrides the entire Northwest states. There's a lot of people, all right? And these are the old school guys and girls, right? And I'm probably forgetting some people. When we went to school, we had to go live, and we went live for 2 years. You guys know this. I've talked about this. But we were forced to study. The idea was real estate, right? We were in a crashing market, right? They were in an up market. I missed all that. But so they were able to, Bob Tierney made $400,000 in his first year. It was 2006 or whatever it was. And 2007, they crushed it. It was a very similar situation that it is right now. Real estate was going off the chain, and there was demand for real estate education. It was busting through the seams. Credit lines available to people who wanted to buy education were out there. All you had to do was take the action to get people in front of the information, and the majority of them would buy. Okay, so it was primed to do marketing. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. So they also were wanting to do real estate, and so a lot of them got caught a little bit, right? A lot of the guys got caught with real estate. They were just buying rental properties, but they were doing more marketing. Then you fast forward into the downturn, and a lot of us that were doing real estate ended up buying real estate, and we were buying it on sale. The leads were abundant. There was so much real estate available. The only thing you had to do was buy it right so you could sell it, because there were still people getting loans. Appraisals were really being held down and things like that, but there were still, people were buying houses left and right. 100 million people, if you will, maybe not that many, got in trouble, right? We're filing bankruptcy and all this crap, short selling their house, but there's 320 million people at the time, and another 180 million people were still buying houses. They weren't in trouble credit-wise. They weren't in trouble with upside down houses. So there was still opportunity, right? It just seemed like the media was, so, as you guys know, I was selling 20 houses a year. So here's the thing. My point to this is, if you look at all these folks, they were forced to study their education. And you've heard me say this. We didn't study one class one time and go do the strategy. We studied it multiple times. I would see Scott Rowe. I would see the people, Bob Tierney. I would see them at the college, James Lease, and we would go to the classes and we would study the class. Gary Lawrence. Gary Lawrence created like $220,000 at 65 years old in his first 15, 18 months flipping houses. Right? That's how he made his money before he ever got 5-star qualified. And now he's on the pit. He's been on the pit since 2012. And he's stayed there, which means he's maintained at least $150,000 a year for the last 10 years, or whatever that is, 8 years in the marketing. So that's why he's over $1.5 million in marketing. Then you take the new people, John O'Neill, Michael Huggins, right? You take Mitch Nelson, Nate Lambert. I'm missing people, so don't get me wrong. Antonio Lobo, all these guys. There's people all over, right? And all you guys on here that are doing real estate. And you got the education for real estate. You started studying it, and you started doing real estate. Regardless of your real estate deals, regardless of all that, if you think about it and you look at the marketing side of things, they studied their education. Now, I'm not saying don't do real estate at all, right? But I'm saying now's the time to be studying your education. I know you guys know this, but here's the marketing side as we shift gears. Studying your education, there's going to be deals that are coming along your way, and we're going to talk about that too. And most of those deals, in my opinion, money are going to come from the students you enroll. You've heard me say that 1,000 times. They just talked about that the other day, right? But when you study your education, there's things you can do that if you take it seriously, there's things you can do that you can talk about and be an expert in that are going to attract like-minded people. Number one is you can fix your credit. All right. I don't know what your credit is, but I'm going to tell you, the better your credit, you're going to need it. I don't know where you're at in your life. I didn't give a crap about my credit. I hated that it was down because I had it at one time, right? I cared more about my wife's credit because I'm the one who ruined it. And, she just pulled her credit the other day, and I think it was like 770. And so you can constantly learn to build your credit. You can build business credit, which gives you credit that is, right? That is non-recourse. All right. This is going to be a learning process. There's no turn. Okay. Not sure about probate. Oh, yeah. Cool. You guys are talking about the probate. Just making sure I don't want to miss any questions. And then we can hit that up for sure, Pete. When it comes to tax and legal, you got to think about a couple of things, right? You want to save on taxes. So if you're W-2, then, you want to, you can go exempt or add in a bunch of dependents so you can have less taken out of your check. But remember, as you start to become, and many of you already are, an entrepreneur, and you've been in your business for 2 years, and if that's what you're going to be doing full time, if that's what you want, marketing and or real estate, you've got to do it if you want to qualify for a loan, right? What you don't want to do is you don't want to be able to, there's opportunity, there's options, but you don't want to be able to buy a house, hold on to it for a year, and then refinance it and not be able to refi it because you're in a new field, right? You've got to be able to get underwritten in your field. You've got to understand mortgages. that class is huge because you've got to be, so, you know, I have to balance how much I write off. My adjusted gross income is nearly half of what I truly make. All right. That's why I pay 8% in tax on $500,000 of income on some years. Right. So, but that hurts us when we go to qualify for refinances, right? This big house here, you know, we're in a certain loan. There's an opportunity at 3% right now. We've only owned it for 2 years that we're looking to refinance, but the jumbo loans went away. So now they're coming back. But you've got to be able to qualify for these loans. And if you're writing off everything for 3 years or 2 years in a row, you're not going to qualify. So you've got to understand taxes and understand legal. You know, you don't want to do some of the things I did. You want to have money and get your living will now, get your living trust, be able to contribute to your HSA, be able to contribute to your Roth and your 401k. And you, but if you're paycheck to paycheck still, and your business isn't making money, then you starting a Roth and not being able to put the $5,000 into it for the year, it doesn't make any sense. So the more you understand your education, the more sophisticated you're going to be in plan, right? So in the meantime, here we go with the marketing. When if you honestly do this and you study, right? Like if he'd have asked me a question on anything else but probate, I probably could have gone into a 2-hour debate and training on the class, because I've studied the class so much and I've done the strategy, right? But so I took the classes serious. I did not do a subject 2 without going to the subject 2 class. I went to it multiple times, right? I went to the lease options class way before I ever did a lease option. And then you guys, I did a lease option on a property that I bought with a $50,000 down payment, and they did not execute in 2 years. And I kept the $50,000, and the property then went up, the rents went up. And to this day, it's amazing. That was the very first like true lease option deal I did on selling that house. I still own the house, 10 bedrooms. I bought that house for $66,000. It's worth over $600,000, you guys, to this day, right? So if you truly study the education, this is where we're at. There is no question that the banks are abundant, okay? That 0% credit cards are abundant. Every single day, I get letters in the mail about credit, refinance loans, all this stuff, right? So does everybody else. So you're in a similar position, in my opinion, to where the guys were and girls were in 2005, 6, and 7. Now, back then, there were signature loans. If they wanted it and they had a 700 score, you go to the bank and sign a signature loan. I don't think it's quite that easy. Home equity line of credits were not, you know, you didn't even have to, I don't even know if you had to qualify for them back then. I mean, I just remember people getting funded, and I didn't even understand it because I wasn't in the marketing, but I mean, people were making 10 grand like it was candy. And I remember one kid out of Hawaii was a tree climber, tree trimmer. And in his first year, made like 150 grand. He was like 18 years old. And he just told everybody, and everybody got qualified. I don't know how his sphere of influence got qualified for a loan, but there was also student loan programs and all this stuff. Those kind of, you know, that's not back in the system, this fake lending. But there's still an abundant economy, abundant markets, and there's a high demand, right? I got to watch the time so we cover this. There's high demand for what we sell, okay? But to be effective in selling it, understand your product. All you have to do is study it. And if you study it and you begin to not even implement it, but just comprehend it and begin to strategize on it, like plan your future, plan your credit, plan your velocity banking, work a little bit on your velocity banking, even if you don't have a line of credit, but you're using your credit card and velocity banking to pay down your credit debt, and you're finding, you know, if you do it for 6 months, just turn off DirecTV, or, you know, don't go out to eat, or whatever it is that's going to save you, find a little bit of money that you can apply to reducing your credit on your credit card, the credit line on your credit card. Your credit score will go up. You guys understand this. You watch velocity banking. Whatever it is, the conversations you will be having with people will be abundant. You will be the expert. And I know that you know this. So now we got to look at this. 99% of America, okay, is buying. They're buying houses right now, right? They're buying like, it's interesting because I shoot myself thinking about buying an RV right now, right? Because the market is the highest it's ever been in the entire world. I found out more about RVs than I ever want to know. But Berkshire Hathaway, for example, does everybody know who that is, right? They're real estate. They're a real estate brokerage, right? They're owned by Warren Buffett, right? Berkshire, in the crash, bought like 5 different major manufacturers of RVs. There's actually an RV called the Berkshire. Then they own Thor, right? They own, I can't even think about it. They own Coachman. These companies were in turmoil. They were in absolute crap in the crash, and he bought them, buy low, sell high. Now they're killing it. Their stock is over, what, $14,000 a share? It's not just real estate. It's not just their brokerage. Like, they own a bunch of stuff you'd never even know because he buys low, right? And he buys in a down time. So, but most people are buying boats. You can't find boats. You can't find RVs. You can't find housing, right? Because everybody's buying it. Because it's a nationwide thing based on media and all that stuff, right? So you don't have to be buying property right now, right? Now, it's not that you're not looking. There's still deals to be found. You can still find deals under market value in today's market. If it went down tomorrow 30%, you still have equity in the house because you bought it correctly. I'm not saying that. You can also be flipping or wholesaling houses right now because the market's going to go up and it's going to be worth more. And everybody and the 99 percenters are trying to get in the game, buy a flip, buy a wholesale, buy a house before the market goes up even more. And they want in and you can wholesale a house. That's going to happen. But if we focus on marketing, I'm telling you, an extra 10 grand, fixing your credit, paying down your debt, understanding your taxes, right? And then preparing yourself for raising private money. How do you raise private money? You enroll students and you build relationships. You call people and you prepare them for when you're going to sit down with them, have a conversation with them. In fact, you practice it now. Practice it now when the market's great. And the odds of you getting a deal are not great. But when the market goes down, the odds of you getting a deal are great. And when you see bigger margins and the property's going down and you can give them another pitch at that time, you're already going to have a private investor and the money you need for when the market crashes. So how do we do this? So there's a thing called massive action. And the only person that I know, actually, I can't say that. The few people that I know, maybe Bob Tierney, definitely Michael Huggins, definitely Dane Clark, definitely Nate Lambert, Mitch Nelson, that have taken massive action. And you guys, I don't know everybody's story. Yaz and Umair, I can't say that I've ever taken massive action in marketing. I haven't. I never, ever, ever reduced my real estate to less than 50% of what I'm doing, okay? And I've never had more than a few fishing poles, if you want to call them that, lead sources for marketing, right? I've had warm market, social media, Craigslist when we could do it back in the day. I don't have Craigslist anymore. I haven't replaced the cold market lead generation. I've increased my social media marketing in my warm market, right? In my 3-foot rule, and I rely on my team. And my team relies on me and vice versa, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. So massive action is something you could do. I highly doubt that anybody on this call will do it, but massive action is literally applying every last waking minute for a certain amount of time to get whatever it is that you want to do in the marketing. That means that you're placing ads where you can legally and compliantly. You are making your list again and revisiting your list, doing 3-way calls. You are, creating a social media platform and strategy where you have changed your identity from whatever it is you are to the real estate investor you want to become, or the marketer you want to become, whatever it is. You are also, even going through 3-foot rule. You're calling your doctors, your nurses, you're calling your dentists and things like that. Like, I can't imagine that many people on this call has ever hit up their dentist to come to an event. I know that I haven't. I don't even have a doctor. I really don't have a dentist. I just go to one wherever I am after every couple of years. But I've never had a cavity, by the way. I just brush my teeth a long time. Um, so you guys get my point. There's massive action. Then there's just regular action. Okay. And that regular action has a big variation, right? You can talk to one person a week. So you can literally talk to what your lead sources is. And this is where, if you want to participate, you're welcome to. Not that you weren't before. I'm just checking the chat. But, I walked by my board the other day, and fortunately this week I put 3 new direct sales guests on there that went to the events that are now in the pipeline. I added a person in Pittsburgh that's under Jim that he's working with, right? And a couple of my team members, people that they're working with, right? That I've added to my board. It's very minimal. I stick to warm market. I'm fortunate so far. Like I said, I'm almost averaging a combo a month, but I'm behind. So the next 5.5 months, I have a lot of work to do, right? So I know with my board and my papers that I take with me everywhere, even when I went to the RV dealer, I have my notebook with me with my people, just in case I have a minute to call somebody, right? That's how I track my people. I track the number of people that I'm working with. Now, I've never been in the top 10 that I know of for number of guests. I've never been, I don't even know if I've ever been in the top 10 for, anything else, except for when it came to sales and it came to the contest last year, or, for London. And so I track the people, and I track my one-on-ones mainly, right? I track my one-on-ones, and I track my systems. Who's in the system that can typically buy? If I've got 15 people and they're all cold market and none of them have money, I'm spending a lot of time getting no results. All right. So I'm not concerned with working with people that don't have money and come from cold market, but I'm also going to integrate a warm market list. People that I know are qualified to buy if I can get them in front of the information and explain it to them and overcome their objections, right? So if you want to look at what you like, okay, so the point to this is this. This is up to you if this is your decision. It depends on what you want to do. But if you're on this call and you want to make 10 grand, I don't know, in 60 days, or maybe you've made $10,000 this year and you want to make 20 more. I don't know what it is. But if we're thinking about this marketing thing, right, and you're focused on real estate, you guys know I've said this a million times. The real estate that I have done, I would have had to replace this entire organization, my team, Scottsdale Renatus, and Renatus as we know it, with my own social media page, my own network as RIA, which means I'd have to go down to Arizona real estate every month. I would have to join some sort of other groups in Facebook or some sort of team, because that would be my network, right? I would have to be out in the world, but I've never needed that. I'm sure that many of you have experienced this with all the partnerships. You've at least seen it in many of the the stories and the testimonies of all of the house tours where people are partnering together. We meet each other, we trust each other, we rely on each other, we're a team nationwide, and things work out. Now, crap hits the fan and a lot of people screw up and they invest with the wrong person. Renatus is not bulletproof by any means. Don't get me wrong. It's still people trying to do things without the right education yet, and they're losing people's money. That's going to happen. So if you've got money, I suggest you study before you and vet before you become a money partner or a money lender or whatever it is. However, as long as we have Renatus and real estate loses money, people in Renatus will lose money. It's just a fact. But you can grow your real estate. If you have money, don't have money, have education. Well, we all have education. Have credit. Doesn't have the gumption to go out and make it happen, and you use your time wisely, and you go find deals, or you manage projects. You take your skill sets, whatever it is. So your marketing business, as you know, is going to grow your real estate business. But in the meantime, if you think about it, whatever you do, if you've got a business already that you do, you're like, if I was joining Renatus and I was in Play It Again Sports, I'm not going to quit Play It Again Sports on purpose. I'm going to ride it out, right? It's going to take my time. That's my focus, right? Then I make Renatus my side hustle. You're really only going to have 2 choices. You've got a full-time business that's probably taking more than 40 hours a week. right? If you own a store or an accounting firm or whatever you do as a business owner, right? You're busting your butt and you're probably not very well leveraged. You're probably, like me, most likely you don't own some company, you own a job, right? It's just a fact. And I owned a job even though I had 4 stores, right? I did everything. And when the crap hit the fan, I had to let people go and I had to do even more. So the odds of me doing marketing in Renatus at the time that I joined and real estate was 0, right? And I was trying to do real estate. So I was trying to get educated, right? I bought a program, as you guys know, and there were 8 coaching calls for 30 minutes for $5,000. And I got through 4 of them. I missed 4 because my social life was Wednesday night and I was dating this girl and I had to go to the hockey practices. So I chose that over that, right? And we all have the same thing. We choose a game. We choose our kids, whatever, our spouses, whatever, or our own single social life over, sacrifice. So and if you've got a W-2, it's the same thing. It's not like you got a bunch of time just because you work 35 or 40 hours a week at a W-2 or you're working from home right now. You still have a family life. You still have a social life and you still don't want to work all the time. So what are you going to do? Marketing, and you're going to do real estate. You're going to study classes before you do the real estate. Then you got to study and do real. Come on, where's the time? It's not. This is why we're not doing what we want to do. We've got to figure out what we want to do. So if what we want to do is make $10,000 and not take any risk, we could get over the fact that we're embarrassed that we haven't done a deal, or that the market's going crazy, everybody's making money, right? I get it, right? But if you focus on what's important, and what could be important for you is being able to take advantage of the next downturn. Buy low, sell freaking high. Like if you could have a crystal ball, and somebody on here's got it. So type in the chat who's ever got it, because I want to see it. If you could have a crystal ball and you said, well, if it takes me 12, 8, 6, 14, 24 months for the market to come down, right? And I've got money, credit, reserves, I've made some money in marketing that I don't need to pay my bills. Or maybe I pay off all my debt, so now I've got a bunch of credit again, right? Whatever it is, you use your Renatus marketing. You study, which means number one, you've got the best 2 things you could possibly have. Relationship capital, because you did some marketing and built a team, right? Or you just focused on being a part of Renatus. And the 2, you studied the crap out of the education. 4 or 5 times you watched the short sales class or the foreclosures class or the auctions class, which are going to be strategies that are going to come up, right? Or you studied the lease options or subject to, whatever it is, buy and hold. These are all things that you want. Private money, understanding private money and partnerships. And you prepare yourself for the next downturn, whether it's 10% or 30%. I don't care. And then you were able to buy property with no money and no credit of your own, right? You're able to fix it up, rent it out, rehab it, refinance it, whatever it is, and own it until the market goes up again, which is going to be in 5 to 7 years, all right? From when you buy the property. Maybe it's 3 to 4 years, because that's typically what our markets are going to go up, right? They're going to crash for 3.5 years, 3.5 to 5 years, and they're going to go up over 2.5 to 3 more years up. Right? It goes up faster than it goes down, right? It takes longer to go down and start correcting, and then it starts to go up. So then you sell. You sell half your assets. You and your partner split it. If you've got a credit partner or a money partner, whatever you do, you collect rents the entire time, and you never, ever take risk of flipping a house. You hold it till it's high again. You buy it low, you sell it high, and you may or may not ever work again. If you did it like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times over the downturn of 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? But to get there, it'd be nice to have some of your own money. So in a market when it's up and demand is at an all-time high, do you understand that the biggest money makers in all of Renatus and the old company are out, and most major companies gone? They weren't in real estate. They only were doing marketing. They didn't study the education, and they banked on marketing, and they had a bunch of overhead for offices, and the market crashed. When the market crashed, even if people wanted education, most people couldn't find it. Trying to sell education on real estate when the whole world is against real estate was a hard thing to do. It was a few people, right? There was not a lot of money made in 2008, 9, and 10 and 11 in the marketing business, right? However, when the market started going up in 2011 and Bob Snyder changed the company and changed the dynamic and changed the vision and put it online and made it better and improved it and created it lifetime and put it online and started adding value, and just what he talked about today, always improving, right? Got rid of his poison, his kryptonite, which was his partner, gone, and it got rid of all the crap, all the fluff and the hype and all that stuff, and started focusing on what's real, what's authentic, and what's true. And as we know what Renatus as Renatus is today, people started making money again, right? People started wanting real estate again, right? So when the market's going down, real estate education is still in demand, but it's nothing like it was. And if the markets are going down, the banks are going down, the equity's going down, and financing becomes harder. It's harder to market, right? It's not harder to market, it's harder to fund. Right now, it's easier to fund. Right now, the demand is high. Right now, you can position yourself and pay off all your debt with your marketing dollars. If you've got a W-2 or a job, or you're stay at home and you're homeschooling your kids, or whatever the heck you're doing, you study on purpose. You focus on building a better you, creating a foundation for a business, right? Real estate is still going to come your way. A good opportunity in buying a home, like Keely's looking for a property. If she's not spending all of her time looking for a property today because she doesn't want to miss the opportunity of real estate, she's going to be far more prepared. Is the deal going to come along her way? Possibly. She might get into a house with 60 grand of equity. It doesn't need too much work. She can buy it, live in it, flip it over 2 years, sell it in the next up market. Great. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter, because she can buy it. She's still going to be qualified 2 years from now, just like she is right now, to buy a primary residence, right? And she focuses on the marketing, which she's been doing, building a team, establishing credit, building reserves. If you can build 30 or 40 grand in marketing over the course of an entire year, right? And pocket that money, like bank that money somewhere, put it in your Roth IRA or your 401k or your HSA. And when the market crashes, buy a property in any market, then, and it's a long-term rental. Now your retirement account owns a rental. I mean, when we first start this, we don't have any ability to do that. Most of us. I mean, some of you start out with credit and money and all that stuff, and you can go out and buy a rental property in your retirement account right now. That's great. I mean, take advantage. Hit me up with, talk to Coach Gavin on that, talk to Bart Kohler on that, and get it done, right? Or prepare for it for the down crash. But I'm telling you, like the marketing, finding our leads, like tracking what we're doing. Am I getting people to the events? And I don't care. An event doesn't need to be a Thursday night. Now, participate yourselves, because other people are bringing people to the event. My guys went to a live event last week. One of them didn't, and it was both effective. The guy that went last week, actually, I got him the recording from Dane, and he went and he watched it again because he was interrupted. He's like, "Holy crap! I didn't realize I really wanted to watch it, and I didn't get a chance to see the whole thing, to be honest with you. And I really didn't want to do a one-on-one with him, knowing that. So I wanted to send the video over. So the point is, you can understand your business in your marketing by understanding if you're having enough leads, and if you're not, we got to work on lead generation. If you're not getting people to the events, we've got to figure out what you're saying. It's possible that maybe you need someone else to help you invite. When I talk to my team, I do one of four things. The person can go do it themselves, right? If you're not 5-star qualified and you're on my team and you want to do it yourself, do it. You can talk to them, invite them. You can close them, one-on-one them, follow up with them, whatever you want. That's your prerogative. It's your business, right? However, you're probably going to take a lot longer. You're probably going to fail a little more. And, you probably can miss some opportunities on people that could have been closed or joining your team and whatever, right? Number two is you could call me every step of the way. You can call me every step of the way, still do it on your own. But what I'm going to do is at least prepare you to invite them. I'm going to prepare you to follow up with them. I'm going to prepare you in my experience and my knowledge and my understanding of how it works, so that you can go learn it from me and then go do it yourself. Number three is I can do it with you, right? And you can call me up and say, Bill, I got this prospect. This is what Ben Hood did. And it was his very first sale, never done it before. Guy's interested in the education, calls me up. And right away, I took over the entire transaction with Ben with me. Ben was on the call. Ben was at the follow-up. Ben was on the follow-up calls. Ben was on the one-on-one text or the three-way text. Ben was involved, chiming in, giving his 2 cents, telling his story. And I did all the work. Or not all the work, but you guys get the point. And he learned. He learned how to take a guy from step 1 through step 10 to close him. And he funded fully, and he's got his combo, and everybody's happy. Lastly, I tell my folks, of course, if they're busy, you've got a job, you've got a life, you've never done it before, you can't make the meetings, whatever, I'll do it for you. As long as you're, getting 5-star qualified, we don't want to miss the opportunity because you have, a basketball game to go to, or you've got a job to go to, and you can't be there, and the client's ready to go. I'm going to do it for you, and then I'm going to recap with you, right? So that you don't miss out. I'll re-inform you of everything we went through and how it went down and all that stuff, fill you in, keep you in on the group text. So those are your options, right? So anyway, that's the way it works, you guys. And you can track your people. And if you want to make sales, track what you're doing. Like, there's only 4 steps. You know what I mean? That's it. We know the 4 steps. That's it. It's a very simple tracking process. Now, obviously, getting, what to say and, how do you overcome objection? All those, that's in all these trainings. Go to what the work that the people behind the scenes in Utah Elevate and Denver Elevate done for the YouTube channel is off the chain, right? The amount of information on the Facebook group, the amount of information on these recorded trainings is everywhere. You can research it, find it, and study it. But, Econ 101, this market across the nation, regardless of COVID, is like the epitome of economics. Supply and demand. There's a lack of housing across the nation, hence lack of supply. Still people need housing. Over demand, markets off the chain. The manufacture of parts and RVs and the environmental circumstances of COVID have created a huge demand on RVs and boats and campers and trailers and camping equipment. Because everybody's getting outdoors. Everybody's taking their vacations into their own hands. They're not flying. They're not doing cruise ships. They're not staying in big, busy hotels, right? They're going to boutique Airbnbs. They're going camping. They're staying in their trailers. They're doing all this crap, right? You go to an RV lot. There's 2 on an entire lot. Oh, we usually do, we usually have 1,800 units. Right now we have 75. Like, I never even knew it, right? I should have bought the damn thing, 8 months ago when I started shopping. But my point is, the opportunity right now is not to buy. The opportunity is to prepare for the crash when people stop buying and the market shifts from, low supply and high demand, and then you buy, right? But you prepare yourself, and you take, there's the 99 percenters are buying. So, let them buy the education. Let them learn how to buy houses. Focus on your business, and it can change what you do. Let's see if I missed anything. Any thoughts, comments, questions? It's 8:03. I speak for all. We really appreciate the call. Absolutely, you guys. Rob's crystal ball is in the shop. It's getting fixed. Boom, boom. Me too, brother, right? That darn thing. Honey, this is going to be great. We're going to buy this house, live in it, and the market's going to go up, and we're going to sell it in 2 years. If anybody takes that advice, pack your stuff and get out, right? That's not, pack up and get out, right? We're not going to buy a house and live in it. The market's going to go up, and then we're going to sell it. That doesn't work that way, right? We're not buying. Dude, we'll just buy an RV right now, and then in 2 years we're going to sell it and make $4,000 on our boat. No. He bought it 3 years ago when nobody was buying boats and everybody was traveling all over the world because it was just a free for all, right? You guys get the point. So, we can't predict opportunity and things like that, right? We don't have that ability, but knowledge does really help you. Knowledge helps you prepare. Knowledge helps you see visions you don't have. I think that's why Bob Snyder has so much vision. He spent a lot of time becoming an expert in direct sales, right? And multi-level marketing, and understanding business concepts, business models, compensation plans for decades before he started his first company. And, you know, if you look at it, Bob's first company that he started was a travel business before 9/11. And when travel was crap in the late 90s, he saw the turn, right? And he started Travel Dynamics. And that company was off the chain, right? Until 9/11 hit. And then they went into real estate. Like, it's just really cool. The knowledge, the people you surround yourself with, that is the power that you will have. And then you can really demonstrate that no matter if you've ever done a deal, if you are an expert in some of the stuff that we're being taught, like even the profits class, like if you haven't got profits and you want to run a business, get the profits class and study it for your own business. Like, I'm not kidding. I mean, that, you know, this intensive is going to be really good because, you know, if you've ever taken the time, and many of you don't or haven't had the opportunity, but, you know, I've spoken to three different guys that teach profits personally. And, you know, they didn't just make a 6-hour class. Like, it took them all day and all night. You heard Mark Kohler say that last week. This is just incredible. So I'm just reading. Thanks for the A to Z, Bill. Good hearing the history of how the market. Cool. You're welcome. Awesome. I used the 8-ball from the 70s. I love it. Andy Garza, you're awesome. Tim, you're welcome, man. I really appreciate that, you guys. So I don't want to keep anybody too long. I'll put my number in there one more time. 760-533-3141. That's my cell. I'm on Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, that's what I got today. I actually took some, you know, I always take time thinking about it on my dog walkies. You guys know what my training's going to be. Sometimes I think about it the night before, but today I was inspired by my neighbor who I got to close. Maybe I'll tell him to take his boat down payment, boat profit and put it on a down payment for some education. I don't know. Bobby Johnson, always a pleasure, my friend. Absolutely. You guys, I love you, Al. And, you know, if you got any thoughts, if you need something, just shoot me a text and hit me up more than once if I haven't got back to you that day. And Keely Beals, I'll turn it back over to you. I just love you, girl. And I appreciate everybody being here.
Thanks, Bill.
LaShawn, oh my God, it's always good to see you. I love your beautiful faces. Ada, and oh my God, this Naisis, that's such a killer name. Leslie, hi. Jenna, Wanda. Oh my God, Wanda's on the call. You guys, Wanda, you gotta hit her up. She is just a huge knowledge base and with a heart of gold and can help you guys if you're on her team. Take her advice, man. She will help you with your marketing. Everybody will. And I'll flip pages. Amy.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Thank you, Keely.
Thank you.
Yep. Steve Harrington, good to see you. Awesome. Kelly, it was good seeing you on here.
All right, Keely.
Awesome, everybody. There's Joey. What's up? All right, you guys. Love you guys. David, Andy. I'm going to keep going. Oh, and Keo Jones, she's on my team. She was here today. Awesome. Melissa, Maggie, you guys. Brett, everybody. Love you guys. Have a great day. Thanks, Laureen. That's super cool. D. James, what's up, brother? All right, you guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys just take a step back and think about it. The next 6 months could be really freaking powerful for everybody here. And, Leaders Retreat next year will not be a problem. You're already 3-star qualified, most of you, so I'm assuming we're going to all be going just like we did this year, or at least have the opportunity to go. You won't have to worry about that. Everybody on this call absolutely will be 5-star qualified by next year if you put these trainings into practice. So, all you'll need then is the money, and the money will come when you get 5-star qualified and you start doing this. And you guys, girls, guys, people, team, could you imagine if we all bought, 3 or 4 or 5 houses in the next crash and just cash flowed them? And we're talking about buying them on quick, like look at how much stuff costs now, and 30-40% off. $250,000, $200,000 house, you get a $100,000 discount, and then it's going to go up again in 4 years, and it'll be worth $220 by the time you sell it, and you make $100,000 on 3 or 4 or 5 houses over the course of 5 years in cash. Like, just fathom what that would feel like that kind of wealth. And you may not even have to sell them. Maybe you refinance and keep. I mean, like it's a difference. But if you're not prepared and you don't have the money and you don't have the credit and you don't have a little bit of reserves of your own, you're not going to qualify and you're not going to be able to put down payments and take advantage and we'll miss it. And we don't want to miss that. All right. Love you guys. Have a good day. Keely, I'm going to let you turn it off.
Thanks, Bill. Take care, everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.